Hey guys, this is Brad. Just wanted to take a minute to thank you, the listener, for listening and proving you have a growth mindset. Our mission is to curate information from the top influencers around the world. We provide you with real, actionable steps on how to improve in any and every area of your life. Whether you're an entrepreneur, C-suite executive, or just starting your journey of self-development, professional development is all about growth. And you know, if you're not growing, you're dying. If you enjoy this content, please help us by liking, sharing, and subscribing. Here we go.
Hey guys, welcome to the Nope.
Psych,
Nope.
We just talked about this.
We gotta keep it.
How people fuck it up. We don't understand how they
Now
fuck
he
it
needs.
up.
Now he needs the beer. He's nervous.
Yeah. Fucking hell.
You're up your game today.
There we go. Hey guys, welcome to the Professional Development Podcast. Today is Tuesday, October 19th. And we've got on a very familiar face, but this time we're in person instead of virtual. Andy, oh my gosh. Why did I do that?
Matt is off the podcast today.
I know you.
I lost my job.
You were gonna say Andy Frisella's wife.
No, that probably would have been worse.
That's the last thing we want
That
to
would
do.
have definitely been worse.
Hey, can somebody else do this because he obviously is a
Yes.
first timer?
I agree 100%.
Hey guys, you're here with Emily Frisella. I am a guest on the Professional Development
Emily's
Podcast.
gonna go ahead and take
Thank
this.
you for tuning in. We are now live because last time we had to do it via Zoom because everybody was on lockdown with the pandemic. So welcome to the show. We're gonna hash through a lot of shit today, so we're looking forward to it. So
Rich, yes, we're using that. No, seriously, Emily, thank you so much for coming on. So before we get
Thanks for
rolling,
having me.
I wanted to congratulate you on being the first ever recurring guest on our podcast.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you. Do I need to have an acceptance speech?
Yeah,
It's a big
so our first question is, where does this fall on your list of all-time achievements?
Let's see. Where's the end of the list at? I think it's like no.
Say it's got to be on the first page, right?
Yeah.
I'm probably just gonna get a tattoo of it. 'Cause
There
it's
we
just,
go.
It's so sentimental to me.
Now we're talking.
Yeah.
Yes. But no, realistically, congrats on your 1-year anniversary for Paper and Plan Co.
Thank you. Thank you.
Who is this guy today? University?
Did I say anniversary wrong?
It's French.
Can you smell burning toast right now? Are you having a stroke?
Guys, I must have had a longer weekend than I thought.
So the anniversary was great. Thank you.
Yes. Okay.
To be
Let's
fair,
just
he
glaze
did just
over it.
finish
Oh my
phase
goodness.
1 last Wednesday.
Oh,
and,
cool.
And then he spent the weekend in Florida tearing it up.
Yes. Yeah. Overserved, eating like shit.
No, but
Overserved.
isn't that wild though? After you get off of it, because you're not used to that, like, and you eat like quote normal or like not healthy food.
Yeah.
You feel so sick and you just feel totally off. Like you do get like a legit brain fog. I mean, I'm not giving you that as an excuse, but I'm just saying like.
Right. He was just talking
Still
about
no
that whenever
excuse.
we were in the lobby. He was
No.
talking about how he's like, I just feel awful.
No, you need like a 3-day get back to like eating healthy and drinking a lot of water to like for real like. To
No,
clear
that's
that
what
up.
got me to work out like this morning, because I was just like, I feel like shit, and it's because I haven't been doing anything good
Yeah.
for my body whatsoever.
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
then it's like you're like, oh, I just want a little break. And then you do it and you're like, oh, I feel sick. I feel you know what I mean? You feel fatigued. And
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just best just get back to it.
100%. So what's been going on this last year since you've come? Guys, you got to stop looking at me like that. What the fuck?
Well,
we're waiting for the next fuck
This
up.
last year.
I didn't even know it still.
The what?
You said like
this past year.
Yeah,
You guys are getting really, really specific on how I'm fucking up here.
It's so obvious though for us.
Actually, it's not specific.
Okay.
It's very, no. So this past year, just Paper and Plan Co. Got that going on. We've got a lot of stuff going on with Andy's brand. I work with his brand as well. Arte's been great. Our Arte Syndicate, which is our entrepreneur program, and just the daily maintenance of drinking from a fire hose of a to-do list that's too long that you'll never catch up on. But
Yep.
you look hopeful every day.
Right?
But it's good. It's a good problem. You know what I mean? Like I thrive in chaos. I like the hecticness. I like having, a full day. So
Yeah.
I actually wouldn't want it any other way. So
Right. And we were talking about this a little bit before. You've been having issues because of, and I guess, Brad, you were going to talk a little bit about the supply chain, right?
Yeah, so in my business, I own a fabrication business where we need metal. And trying to get metal right now is like almost impossible. It's not impossible, but you
Right.
have to plan ahead.
Yeah.
You have to hope that you're going to use it. And being that you sell planners, obviously they're date specific. And I would imagine like right now has got to be like probably when you start to see most of your sales gearing
Yeah.
up towards Christmas time and the New Year's.
Right.
So how are you handling your supply chain? Because it's got to be an issue.
it is. And it started actually when I launched last year, it was already an issue because of COVID and stuff. So I was already experiencing like issues with that. And, I was supposed to get them last year I should have had them in August, and then I was told September, then October, then November. They didn't show up until like the 10th of December, and people want them for Christmas and New Year's and stuff. So last year I actually had so in December 2020, I had already ordered my 2022 planners, knowing it was going to be an issue. And it took, again, about 6 months for that. Well, then now that the supply chain issue is so on everybody's radar, a couple of my printers have reached out, and both of the same exact thing, like, hey, we need to plan a lot more for this. So I'm ordering my planners again now, even a month earlier, because they're saying it's, at least a 6-month lead because there's a paper shortage, and they put a cap on how many you can order at a time. So like I can order X amount, and then in 30 days, I can order that amount again, but they don't let you order your bulk at the same time if it's over a certain quantity. But the problem with that is trickling down is that then you don't get your bulk discount for ordering. So it's hard because then you have the quote inflation, or you have to increase your price, because I'm no longer getting those good deals or those price breaks that I once was, because I can only order my smaller quantity. So now it's like, okay, well, now the planner has to be $3 more expensive next year, So it is a big issue, and people are seeing it from all effects, and it's a trickle down. So if you haven't felt it now, you will end up feeling it, whether you're a business or you're a consumer, whatever. It's gonna hit everybody.
Yeah, and as a business owner, like you just touched on it, you have to, you don't want to raise the prices.
Absolutely not, right.
But at the end of the day, it has to happen.
Yeah.
So how do you find that middle ground of okay, well, what's a happy medium where, I'm still making the same amount of money, but the consumer is not sitting here like, oh, well, this is the same planner paper material that I had a year ago. Yeah.
So I already ran my numbers for 2023. And basically, I have just accepted the fact, being a business owner, you are at the bottom of the barrel. You know what I mean? Like the whole pay yourself first type of thing. No, I'm the last to get paid. So I just decided, okay, 2023, I'm going to, because the thing is, I have my labor. I do free shipping on my orders, and shipping has gone up. The supplies went up. So I was like, okay, I just won't take a paycheck then for 2023. And that's the thing, is like a business owner of where is that? Are you okay with, you taking a cut or sacrificing or not taking a check? Because I want to keep all my employees running. I need to hire about 4 more people. I'm getting ready to move into a commercial location, so I need to hire more staff there. So that is the easiest fix for me. And, if it was my only business, I would maybe have to kind of rethink that. But however, I do have other streams of income, so then it's not as a big deal to me. But it is finding where is that happy medium at, where I can still keep my employees, I can still serve my customers right. So I decided, okay, my planner has to be $3 more expensive to help offset it, and that's literally just to cover the inflation or the what I'm going to incur, and then I'll just manage the rest. Because the thing is, I don't want to have to lay anybody off or anything for that.
That makes sense. And you're talking about growing your company, right? You already have planned to hire some more people.
Yeah.
How is that going during the Great Resignation right now, which is nobody's working, everybody's quitting their job. And actually candidates have a pretty diverse pool in terms of they have so many options that I believe it's turning everybody super fucking lazy. And people are no-showing. Are you having any issues finding others?
No, actually I don't know if it's because planning is kind of hot right now, because you show these organizing pages. And I mean, I'm into all that stuff anyway, so I follow those pages. But I actually have, a lot of women that, because it's a women-owned and operated business, and I have a lot of them reaching out that want to work with me within the company. So it's just a matter of me, once I get this other location, then I can actually have other people come in and work. Because right now, my warehouse is in the back of our HQ here, and my office is at our home in my studio, where that's where all my girls work right now whenever they're in office. And I don't have the capacity to have more people in that office, and I don't want to have people just at my house or here all the time. So I need one place where people can go and report to every single day.
Got it.
So I haven't experienced that yet. But then again, you know how it is. People are oh, I want to do this. And then when it comes down to it, they may not be as interested. So fingers crossed I won't run into that issue. But I know it's the people that I coach in their businesses, it's a huge thing right now. Is they're paying people that should make $12 an hour, $20 an hour just to work. And then what happens is it eats into their profit margin. Well, then they get kind of where they're in a corner where they can't hire anymore, because they're overpaying people for the work just to have them be able to show up. Or they'll hire 4 people and 3 show up and then 2 quit. And it's impossible right now.
Yeah. So what is your advice to the people you coach in that situation? Because that's something I'm dealing with right now. So I'd be
what's your opinion in terms of why that's happening too?
Well, I think people just need to sweeten the pot. It's not necessarily oh, I have to pay you all this, because we have to remember this is a temporary type of issue. And if you promise someone $20 an hour, and when they hit their 90-day, 6-month, a year, they're going to want to raise, not understanding that they're already getting overpaid for actually what they're producing at the moment. So there's other ways to incentivize people. Is that something where they get a bonus per piece, or is it, I call it like, we do like piecemeal work, or it's performance pay. So if you reach these certain numbers, then you get a bonus paid out. So that's something that I find effective, because then they want to work harder at, let's say they would make $12 an hour and you decide, okay, I'll pay them 14 just to sweeten it a little bit more. But then if they can crank out 200 pieces of XYZ a day, then that goes on the docket. If they can do that for 30 days, then they'll get, a $300 bonus or $200, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
So that's a way to do it to where you're not locking yourself into payroll wise, because then you always have to remember too, is that comes with your taxes, and, it kind of affects everything else. And if you can just bonus them out or give them like a Visa prepaid gift card or something like that.
So with that being said too, so one of the things that I was curious about is the culture that you guys are building there, because it is hard to hire people right now. So what would you say the culture of your company is, and how did you get there, and then where is it going?
Okay, so I adopt the same values that I've always had, and that's what I've created my core values out of. And my core values have actually come from mistakes I made in my business when I was like 20. And so I have 9 core values, and that they are posted on our wall in our office. And then all the girls, they have required reading materials to read. I buy them their books, and then every 6 to 8 weeks, they get a new book to read that instills the values of that, or just good self-development books. It might be like, I love Atomic Habits. That's always my go-to. Leadership by John Maxwell is like a must-read by people. So we have that. And then I actually call, I call them out on their work, either bad or good. So one of my girls sent me a swipe up for our story, and there was a misspelling in it. And I sent it back. I said, is this your best work? Which are one of our core values. Number 7 is make it your best work. And she looked at it and she's like, no, it's not. And she sends it back. She's like, okay, this is my best work. And I'll just say like, okay, are you sure now? And just kind of like razz her a little bit. But the thing is that you only have to do that a couple, 2 or 3 times before they really start to hone in on the details, because women by nature just seem to be more detailed anyway. But when you start to point those things out, instead of just letting it slide, that's what builds that culture of excellence. And they want to do good. And they don't want to have you come back and say like, well, did you actually, think big, or were you innovative in this? And they're like, well, no, I just changed the color of the font. Okay, that's not what we want. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's kind of just calling people out. It's, supporting them. I do like little bonuses for them. I might, surprise them with like a gift or, a gift card or whatever like that, because they do work hard for me. And I do appreciate it, because I could not do it alone because of all the other shit that I have going on. I heavily rely on my team, not just because they're my team for my company, but like, I cannot operate without them,
Sure.
So.
I remember a year ago, you said that you had 4 employees, one of them being your sister.
Yes.
Is it hard to not demonstrate some nepotism towards your sister?
No, and I treat her just like an employee, cool. And she knows how I am, and because obviously I've known her my entire life, and she'll tell me something. I'm like, yeah, I already know that. That's why that's there. She's like, okay. And the other, she's like, I'm just not going to tell you or suggest anything because you already know what you're doing, so I'm not even going to say it. So she kind of like teases me that way, but. She treats it though, that's a big thing. It's like, it's not just me treating her like an employee. She treats me like her boss, not her sister. You know what I mean? Like she doesn't try to, she doesn't take advantage of the situation whatsoever. If she's going to be 5 minutes late, she texts me and says, hey, I'll be 5 minutes. She's very respectful of the position and the opportunity. So it's been absolutely wonderful. And I mean, we've gotten along our whole lives. And so I didn't expect it to be anything difficult, but sure. She totally gets it. So I'm super fortunate there, because I know a lot of times when you work with family, that's not the case.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Something that I think really speaks to your guys' culture with First Form and your own business is the fact of you guys are together a lot. Like you guys had
Andy and I?
No, like everybody in your organization.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I find it like usually in situations like that, the more time you end up spending with somebody, you end up like, I do not like this person.
Yeah.
But I think it shows how strong your culture is that you can have an event like you had last weekend and you come in on Monday and you guys are, it's like no big deal.
Yeah.
We go right back to work. It's not like a friendship per se. It's just the culture of the whole organization.
Right. Yeah. And it's just, because everybody's so like-minded. Everybody here wants to win. Anybody with any companies or any affiliation with any of the businesses that Andy and I have, that's what they want. We all want the same thing. And we all understand there's like, this is the one common goal and we all are a part of it. And it's like, you can't play Jenga without all the pieces, right?
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what it is. Like we have to have all these pieces in play to be able to reach, our final goal, which there's no real final goal. There's no finish line, we always say. It's just how far are we from the starting line? That's what we look at.
That's a good way to think about it.
And I think it is impressive how many businesses that you have. And one of those that I wanted to talk about was your Women in Business workshop. Mm-hmm. So interestingly enough, we actually started our own, you can call it a networking event, but I think we all kind of hate that term. Like it's just a bunch of like-minded people that get together and we have no fucking clue what we're doing, but we know the goal from everybody is to just get better.
Yeah.
Right. And so we're figuring it out as we go.
Is it called Bros in Business?
Now it is.
Coin that.
100%.
We're trying not to single out just bros. We're trying to get some girls in there too.
Girls can be bros if you spell it BRUH, right?
There, maybe. I don't know. Is it?
Sure.
Does that make it?
I've heard girls say they're bro girls, but if it's BRUH, not BRO.
Oh, see, I would call that bruh. BRUH.
Yeah.
Bruh. What's up,
Anyway.
bruh?
So there.
Delete that whole what I just said. No, I'm just kidding. You don't have to delete it. I don't give a shit.
So we can delete that if we can cut my 6 failed intros.
No, we
Absolutely not. We are
keeping all
keeping
of that.
those.
We're keeping both.
Yep.
But we think it's really cool. I think one of the questions I had, and this is for us selfishly, it's like you're at a point where you max it and you cap it at 60 people, and knowing how big you are on the Instagram platform and everything else that you have, it's like I know it could be a lot bigger than that. So one, why cap it? And 2, let's just start with that first because I want to talk about the structure and stuff, but let's just ask why cap it?
So I had 60, and then last year I actually did have 75, and that'll be the max. It's capped at 75 now. I do that because the culture, again, because the thing is I have 75 women there. I don't want to have 300 people there, and then they can't make those one-on-one connections. They don't have enough time to connect. I don't get to talk to everybody because you guys, like any events, you can't talk to every single person. I want to be able to have a meaningful conversation with every single woman there over that 3 days that we're together. So the 75 is just something that I just found like that was the happy place, because the first year I did it was 35, and then we did 55, and then we did 75, so I felt like, okay, that's a good amount of people, because then it's still, we make closer relationships that
more
way.
Intimate,
it keeps it a way more intimate event.
Yeah.
Then we get more questions answered when the speakers speak, they can do Q&A, and then more people are heard. And I don't know. I think that a lot of people are almost exhausted by these massive 2,000 events, and and you just go and you sit and you hear somebody talk, and that's it.
Yeah.
You don't get to have the dinners and the connections and make those relationships. And I have a lot of women that started doing business together. We refer each other to each other's businesses, and also outside of the women in business. It's a group we run the whole entire year, but we meet in person once a year, and it's just kind of and the thing is, I'm so fortunate because when tickets go on sale, I have no idea who's getting a ticket. It's like, hey, tickets go on sale here.
Yep.
They sell out in usually a minute or two, and then that's it. And so I was always scared of if I grow this bigger, am I going to get a cancer in the group that's going to ruin this culture? So that's kind of what in the beginning kept me to keep it small, because I'm like, if you can reduce the number, you can reduce the cancers. But I have not had not a single person that has ever come to any of them that has been an issue or a cancer or has tried to ruin the group.
How many years now?
This will be the 4th year coming up.
The 4th year? Okay, so then big question there is, when you started out, how did you structure it, right? Because we are still meeting, we've only done one before, but we were talking about how we want to do it, and we've got people that are corporate guys that are aspiring entrepreneurs, and we've got people who have been and owned a business for over 30 years.
Yeah.
And we're trying to figure out that comfortable in between, because a lot of people want to get better. Everybody does. Some people want help. Some people are going because they feel that they can help other people.
Right.
So how do you structure that, or how do you even set up something, especially for you, that you're only doing one event a year?
Mm-hmm. So starting in 2022, I will do more events of them because of the demand of ladies that would like to come. And I won't go over 75. So I need to do more, and then do a conference where, we can, a larger group can come together, maybe a 1-day type event. But for that, as far as the structuring, the same thing. I have women that are just starting in business, some that just have their domain bought that haven't done anything yet. And then I have women that are, 7-figure earners, or, sometimes 8. But it's cool because then the women that are just starting out can look at the women that are further down on their journey and learn a lot from them. But it's helpful because people say, well, what are the people that have been in their journey for a while? What do they get out of it? The thing is, those people oftentimes forget the little things that got them there. So these girls are a reminder to those women that are further down the road of hey, you still have to do this. You still have to do stories and be active on your stories and share more of your lifestyle and things like that. And, the appreciation for customers and stuff. You don't ever want to lose sight of that. So when I structured it, I actually, I'll be honest, I had zero structure to it. I mean, I know what I wanted to deliver. I know I wanted speakers. I know I wanted this impact. I know what I wanted out of it. But with me not having control of who purchases tickets, that's hard to actually structure it before you even know who's there.
Yeah.
So when people buy a ticket, now they get a questionnaire. What do you do? What are your social handles? What are this? Blah, blah, blah. And then what I do, we do small groups there. So the girls can get together and work within groups. And I assign them their groups. So in these questionnaires, they have to fill out like, what are your top 3 issues in your business? And then I can go through and I find out women that have been, if I print out all the forms and my assistant and I, we sit on the floor and we stack them in stacks of like, this person's just starting out in the financial business. This woman has been in business for 10 years in the financial business. I automatically put them 2 in a group together. So I work with women that have the strengths and the weaknesses of others. So that way that there's strong women in the group that can help the ones that are suffering in those same categories, and then vice versa. So that's how I work the groups, and that's where the power is, because then they immediately have a connection with people that have a strength that they don't, or those people have a strength that the other person needs.
Yeah.
I love that, because that's our thing is we're at we'll have like 23 people at the next one. And it's kind of like, we want to make sure everybody's getting value out of that.
Exactly.
They're not going to come back, right? And we don't want it to be some like BNI bullshit where you go and everybody exchanges cards. It's actually like no cards exchange. You're really just talking out like problems
it's completely
and challenges.
free.
Yeah. So it's like, as we grow it, because we want to impact as many people as possible, but at the same time, the more people you add, the less value you can provide.
Right. Yeah. So it's that's the thing, is that, the value add can come from you indirectly by having these types of groups that they can work within, because then they help form stronger relationships with just maybe if it's 5 girls, 10 girls, whatever it is, they have each other to lean on because they discuss these things. And I had a woman there, she's an influencer. She's got like 20 million followers, I think. And she told me, you know what her biggest weakness was? She didn't like to be on camera. She didn't like to do video, but that's how she makes her living. And she doesn't like to talk. She's got a beautiful accent, and she didn't like to talk because of her accent. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, your accent's fucking sexy. Like, you need to talk about everything. And then it was cool to see her. She went home, and now she does videos all the time. And she's just a good, solid human, period. But to see her like flourish, because you would never think somebody, they have 20 million followers, they got this stuff figured out. No, who would have thought that was her, this beautiful woman that's got this beautiful accent, and she didn't want to talk on camera. And it's just crazy. So it's just cool to see people kind of like blossom out of that. But the value comes from the network. That's what I was saying.
Right.
Like, it's not me. It's not what I'm delivering. It's not what the speakers are delivering. The value is in each other. And like, I like that you say like network. It's like, I hate that word too. It's
awful.
like, it's cheesy, because I do think about the BNI things and everybody exchanging cards, and it's always slimy.
Well, it's like even in town, we have the Cortex or whatever, and they have this thing. And I went one time to network or whatever, and you get this badge, and it'll say like how many times you've been there, and everybody's been there like 100+ times. It's like the same people.
That's the thing,
over and over, and it's like, what? There's no fucking value here.
Yeah, and the thing is, I feel like when it's networking, it's like grimy. It's like there's some sort of like it's like a first date. Like, I got to get something out of this. But it's it's always about relationships first. Like, I have a book coming out in March called Relationships First. It's my first actual like business book that I wrote, and that's what it's all about. Like, the importance of the relationships that you build, and like that. You can call it networking if you want, but it's just hanging out and, having a beer, having a drink, talking about your dogs, whatever it is. That's how business happens. It's not like, hello, what do you do today? What's your KPI for your business? It's like, it's just cheesy shit.
It's just very transactional, right?
Totally.
And I think what you're talking about, it's like all things created equal, people buy from who they like.
Absolutely.
And who they trust.
Yeah.
So it's like getting that trust before. And then it's just so much more fun to do that. Because I've got like, through my business, it's like I've gained friends through doing business. It started out as a client, and then it's like, now I see these guys like invited to weddings and stuff like that. And it's like, that's the cool stuff, because you can see your product, your service, or whatever that is, helping out a friend's business. So somebody that you have a personal relationship with.
Exactly. And that's what's so nice about it too, is because, with these women in the women business group, that's what we all do. We just like, we all do business with each other. It's not because we're just friends. It's like, we genuinely like the product. And guess what? Then you have 75 women that all love your product. And then 75 women are buying it. 75 women are posting on their Instagram story because they want to help their friend out. And that's 75 more networks that your product's getting eyes on. You know what I mean? So but it all starts with just having a real genuine conversation with nothing. And if you don't make the sale, that's fine. At least you made a new friend, right? Mm-hmm. So it's going at it with the right mentality instead of it being strictly transactional, because that's just, everybody feels that. It's just I don't know. It's grimy.
Yep, 100%. So one of the questions that I had, you did an episode on your podcast, Curious Me. It was called Get Your Groove Back, Creating a Good Routine. The interesting part about that, well, at least it stuck out to me, is you didn't say like, hey, like for your routine, you have to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning,
Gross.
or you have to, or you have to do 75 hard, 365. The emphasis was on the fact that you have a routine, as opposed to just what that routine is.
Yeah.
Can you talk about why that is?
Yeah, I just think it's just so overplayed of like the only way you can be successful or do anything is you have to get up at 4 a.m. and then stay up till midnight. Like that's not healthy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People are biologically wired to have different hours. You know what I mean? Like I'm more of a go to bed later and we get up, 7:30, 8. And then I have a slow morning. I really don't start my morning like hardcore until probably like 9:30 or 10 because I like to get up and like hang out with the dogs. You know what I mean? It's like I just I like those slow mornings and fast days because after 10 o'clock in the morning, my day is just boom, 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 boom until 6 o'clock at night. And then I make dinner and whatever. But it's, I feel like people they put so much emphasis on trying to have this like hardcore routine. I saw on Instagram reel the other day, this woman has a 5-hour morning routine. She gets up at 4, she has a 5-hour routine, and then she starts her day at 9. Like, why? That's like, I can't help but think, is that so you can just say you have a 5-hour routine? Like it's just so strange to me. But you have to find out what works for you. If you're more productive, only being awake 12 hours a day, but you can get a ton of shit done, do that. You don't have to have these crazy hours. I feel like all the like fake entrepreneurs and shit on Instagram, they always post like, the no sleep stuff and all that kind of stuff. And that's not healthy. Not everybody's wired to operate like that.
No, very few people are. Actually, we had Craig Ballantyne on. Craig's friends with Bedros, Cooley, and he was talking to us about that. And it's like these people that have this like, okay, so I'm going to wake up. I'm going to take a morning run, right? I'm going to visualize for an hour. I'm going to do this yoga, and then I'm going to do gratitude for 45 minutes. Then I'm going to take another run. And then it's like those people, it's like they're wasting hours of their day that could be productive. And he's not saying don't do it, but it's like, especially like if you're doing all this difficult shit, then it's like, how much of your battery do you have left for the actual work that you need to do?
Yeah, it's your bandwidth. You know what I mean? I always say like operating your hours of your zone of genius, And I know when my, from 10 to 3, those are my great time. And then I had like a little bit of a slump for about an hour, hour and a half. And that's when I usually work out because I don't want to waste my zone of genius when I know I can be like cranking shit out, working or whatever. I'll just go work out.
Yep.
That gets me back in the swing of it. And then I'll finish out my day and then, make dinner and do all that kind of stuff. But it's, that structure, like you said, like that's too much bandwidth in the beginning of the day. And I can't help but think people just do that because they just hear it and they're like, oh, well, I need to do all that stuff then. You know what I mean? Like because someone else, because someone else does it. That's, I don't meditate or like I visualize and I write 3 things I'm grateful for, my planner, that's it. I don't have this huge documentation thing. That was actually part of what inspired me to even start my own company with the planners because I got tired of looking at planners where I had to document my mood and, what is this and my affirmation for the day and this, like, that's just not me.
Right.
It's great. If that works for people, that's everybody, different strokes for different folks, but you just have to find what works for you.
Yeah. So I saw you've obviously done 75 hard, but I was trying to look. Have you done the full
Live Hard?
Yeah.
Yeah. I did that 2019.
Okay. So this is just mine because, like I said, I just went through phase 1, not to brag, but kind of bragging.
Congrats.
But realistically, it's like how much
mess that one up.
How much of a game changer is it just adding the 3 critical tasks and the visualization?
Oh, it's massive because it's huge. Until people do it, they'll never understand it. They don't understand, oh, well, it's 3 things. What does that matter? I'm like, 3 things every single day is huge because then people tend to put off, I have a saying like, do first what you don't want to do most. And that's what my 3 things are. I've made my 3 things the shit that I don't want to do that day. And then I do those first because then I feel so good about it. It's like you wake up, you get them done, you already have a weight lifted off your shoulders that you got them done that day. But it just offers you like more mental clarity. It builds your confidence like massive because you're like, okay, I'm getting shit done.
Yep.
And it doesn't have to be these like run a marathon is one of my critical, it doesn't have to be that. It could be like, Andy, I was talking like sending an email. It could be me going over quotes for new products or whatever. And, whatever it might be, but it's just shit that, has to get done that day. It's going to move you forward in your business. And if I do not do that, I immediately will like feel myself slipping and I feel terrible about it, because it's like, I can't get everything done. So I do my 5 things every day that's in the planner. It's got the top 5 on there. But then adding on as you move through the phases, you'll add the 3 things on to your already 5. So you'll have a total of 8 with your, keeping a power list.
Yep.
And you can knock those things out by noon and have the rest of your day.
Yeah. It was an absolute game changer for me. And obviously everything else with that, because even though like the workouts and the diet and everything, you can't necessarily see a direct correlation. There always is. So I guess that was my next question, right? Having the businesses, doing 75 hard challenge is like, how do you stay so disciplined, especially like on the diet side of things?
Yeah. You know what? It's this is going to sound so weird, but I like food, but I'm not, what am I trying to say here? I don't get hung up on food. It's like food's almost, I think, and this is because of doing 75 hard and being so disciplined with my diet during that I kind of just like, oh, I can eat whatever. Like I'm not craving anything. And you lose kind of a taste for the junk, if that makes sense, or like the indulgent foods. But, staying disciplined with that, I operate better. So when we talked about before we went on air of like, if you're off the program, you eat pizza and everything, which is great. Everything in moderation, right? I'm not, saying that's bad, but it weighs you down. You feel that brain fog. You don't feel like you're as sharp. And I realized that I can put those two together and know like when I don't eat right, I don't feel as good, therefore I don't perform as well. So it's a driver for me in the success of my business that I keep my diet on point, that I keep my mind clear and sharp because I'm more successful that way. Because from doing 75 hard, I can tell like the business has grown in every business that we have because we're both like high operators now because we are keeping our shit so dialed in.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Do you guys write down goals at the beginning of every year that you track towards the end? Because I'm writing down a goal just recently that was next summer. I planned on like being invited over to a pool party.
That's not happening.
Smoking a cigar.
Just kidding.
Smoking a cigar with Andy. So
not into it, not my thing, or whatever that reels is.
Next question.
Moving on.
Okay. All right. So you want to come to the pool party and have a cigar?
Yeah. So what are the percentages of that happening, you think?
Well, remember how you asked me where that ranks on my list and I said, where's the bottom of the list?
That's down there with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's like right after it.
Oh, it's after.
Will you get a tattoo of you at the pool party?
Yeah. I'll get it right there.
Yeah. So
he brings a kiddie pool at the end of the driveway and he's like, I was
there. I told you I'd be there.
No, anyway, okay, so go ahead. Seriously, though.
So when you guys track your goals, do you guys do that like January 1st, like, New Year's resolution type thing? Do you write that down and then do you sit there and look at it as a win if you got there? Or is it like, at least we attempted, even though we may have failed, we learned something from it?
No, so Andy and I both goal set separately. I actually write my goals down every single day. So I write the same goal that I set in the year, and it could be, if there's 5 things, I rewrite those 5 things every single day, and that's part of my visualization. So I have a certain, in 2020, COVID lockdown, nobody's traveling, school's out, nobody's making plans, and I launch a freaking planner company where you're going to write down where you're going, what you're doing, and nobody's doing this, right? So I was like, damn, was this stupid or what? So I write it down in my journal every single day, the numbers that I wanted to hit for the year. And I hit them almost to the T, and I grew 124% during 2020 when nobody was doing, going out or anything. So it was just one of those visualization things, like I want to see these numbers happen. So every single I write down, what I want for myself physically, mentally, and then also for my businesses. So I do that just, daily, and I do reassess that. So it's like
every single day you're checking
every single day I'm checking it. So it's not that I just write it down and put it away. It's the act of me writing it every single day that it like ingrains it in my head. And I feel like doing that, I can't not reach my goal because of that, because I'm constantly reminded daily.
Yeah. As far as you mentioned wanting to hire 4 more people.
Yes.
Right? And one of the things that I think a few of us in our businesses are doing right now is hiring people to do the things that we shouldn't be wasting time doing.
Yeah.
So how did you pinpoint that right away? Because right away with your business, you had 4 people hired.
Yeah.
Right? And then it's like, okay, what does Emily work on to make sure that the business moves forward and that you hit those different goals?
Right.
So how do you figure out how to delegate, what to delegate? And then, obviously you achieve those goals. So how'd you get there?
Yeah. So I look at it as, okay, what do I need help with? And I kind of, maybe I'm a little bit different than most business owners because I have to look at it from the aspect of, I have to be able to have enough time available to run my other businesses, my coaching business, run Arte, run Andy's brand. I have to be able to have that bandwidth for all of that. So my thing is what do I absolutely have to do? So I don't look at what I need to delegate. I say, what are my priorities that nobody else in the business can touch? That's taxes, that's payroll, that's that kind of stuff, right? So then I need people that can do other things, designers. I need someone in-house that can handle this stuff. I need somebody that can just be like pack orders. Actually, I need 2 people that can just pack orders. I need another person that can monitor the website and, traffic and customer care and customer service and things like that. So it's finding what I have to do and then finding other people to do the rest and figuring out the bandwidth of that. So it's kind of weighing it. It's like, okay, well, now we're actually increased to this much business. So, okay, such and such is spending 8 hours a day packing orders, but their strong suit is actually handling, updating photos on the website and getting descriptions and, talking to our web developer and things like that. So I need to alleviate them from packing orders all day to freeing up 5 hours of their day to deal with website and customer service stuff or whatever. So then I need to find somebody else to plug in there. So it's kind of like a plug and play. There's not any sort of like set, like, this is how you do it. It's kind of like, oh, fuck, we need somebody for this. And hurry up, let's find somebody. You know what I mean? So it's kind of just moving people around till we get like this complete harmony where everybody is just like humming along and it's almost seamless. Because my thing is I'm involved in the business every day. I'm here every day. I see the girls. But it should be where I have it set up to where I can not even be there and it should run exactly as if I were there. And that goes back to like the culture and the core values and holding it up. So
what's the goal in 2022?
As
far as was it percentage based as far as your that goal?
Yeah, it's percentage based. However, the percentage I know is not going to be, I can't say not going to, but it's going to be different because again, we'll be moving into commercial space. So I'll have a build out on that. Sure. I'll have, my leasing and everything like that, all the other utilities, because right now I don't have that. So it's moving to that space and doing the build out on that. So yes, the percentages, it's having my full staff. I'm launching another component to my brand, actually 2 different components to the brand in January, as long as we're good to go with employees and everything that I have the bandwidth to do it. So that's kind of the build up here. So it'll be 3 different segments of the paper and plan company for 2022 and a new location. Yeah. Awesome, but terrifying.
Yeah, I bet.
It always is.
What's the worst question you've ever been asked on a podcast or interview?
Probably like when people ask me what the worst question is.
That's Wait, so do you?
No.
If you don't remember this, Dan last year asked you a kill, fuck, marry.
Wait,
one of your
why was that?
On one of your recipes.
So they told me to do it.
I know, like, why am I going to F a cookie? That's like American Pie stuff.
I am matching the pies.
Oh.
No, I actually don't know. I don't think I've ever been asked any like questions that I don't actually like, honestly, because I'm pretty like just go with the flow. But if somebody ever asks me something, that I'm just not comfortable with or something, or that's blatantly just like stupid, I'll be like, you seriously want me to answer that? And I try to do it in a way where like, then they're like, they get the vibe, you know what I mean?
Right.
But honestly, at the top of my head, I honestly can't say that I've ever been like.
Yeah, it's okay. I just wanted to bring back up that Dan asked you kill, fuck, marry.
So you just
on
wanted to
recipes.
like get a little
Yeah.
over food.
Yeah. Did you guys have anything before the OnlyFans question?
Yeah, I had one more thing. So we obviously have these masterminds. So I think what are we calling them again? You said
you're gonna call it
Business with Bros.
Bros in Business.
Bros in Business.
Yeah, so but we're gonna spell it BRUHAs. Bros
but
and
you
Bros.
you call it BIB. Bros in Business.
Perfect.
BIB.
Bib.
Perfect. We'll pay you something in that.
That's
I don't know. But with that being said,
I'm just gonna hurry up and buy the fucking domain and then sell it to you guys. I'll squat on it.
Help us out.
Dude, I had somebody squat on my domain, my EmilyFrisella.com. Because so okay, let's just share this with your listeners.
Yeah.
If you start a brand, even if you so I started a brand. So it was my very first business when I was 20, you guys. It was like a flower shop. So it wasn't like when you had the websites built, you know what I mean? I was like in person, brick and mortar, whatever. So when I wrote my cookbook like 6 years ago, I bought just fithomeandhealth.com because that was going to be the business I was selling my cookbooks under, blah, blah, blah. And I never thought that Emily Frisella would be an actual brand. So I didn't think to buy it. So like a year after my cookbook came out, I tried to buy it. And someone had it, and I reached.
You can call her a bitch.
I worked through. I think it was a dude. He's a bitch.
He's a
too.
bitch.
Yeah.
So he cannot be in bib. Okay.
No.
You need to put him on a
He's
blacklist.
fucking out.
Beat his ass.
Was it
anyway,
Andy?
Huh?
Was it Andy?
Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna get her.
I own that.
Wait,
Yeah. So I worked through a broker and I tried to get it, and the guy wanted $75,000 for it, and I was like, no, this guy can F off. So anyway, I just let it go, and then like 2 more years went by, and I tried to get it again. Then he wanted $50,000, and I was like, this is not happening. So just recently, literally in the last 6 months, I was buying a domain for my Freedom Reads, my book club that me and Dr. Gabrielle are starting, and I was like, I'm just going to see just for shits and giggles and see if it's around. And it was available, and it was like a lot cheaper than $50,000 at the time because the guy let it expire. So I had to call and to buy it because I guess, I don't know why, but you couldn't buy it online on GoDaddy. So I call them and they're like, oh my gosh, you got this just in time. It just came up about 2 weeks ago. So the guy finally let it expire. So I feel like I ultimately won that one and getting my domain back. So that's why I switched. Now it's all just emilyfrisella.com is my website now.
Yep.
But just a word of the wise of anybody that's starting a business, no matter what it is, buy your name or some component of your name when you start so you don't have someone trying to like squat on it.
That's good to know.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know if there will be a BobbyDrummond.com, but I hope there is one day. Guess I should buy it.
No,
you should just buy. No, you should buy.
I already bought it.
I seriously have.
You already bought the Ungrinder.com?
No, Bobby Drummond.
Oh.
No, you're gonna die. Guess how many domains I own? 174.
Holy shit.
Because of
They're
stuff.
cheap.
They're cheap. They're like you get it for $1.99 or $11. But the thing is, it's like stuff that is pertaining to you. You know what I mean? So Paper and Plan Co. I have to have paperandplanco.org, .net, you know what I mean? And you need to have all the components of it. So it's Emily Frisella, any component of that, or the Emily Frisella, or Emily, all those kind of jazz.
There was a story that Taylor Swift bought up everything related to her, like if it was sexual, if it was anything, she bought thousands of domains.
Taylor Swift doesn't have a bellybutton.com.
Just like crazy.
Wait, what?
There was a whole thing around that was
Does
going
she
around the
not?
internet. No,
No, she
I
does.
I'm gonna have to look it up.
I think the
Show
thing
it or
was she would
something.
wear like these swimwear bottoms that always covered up
Covered
her belly button. And everyone's
Oh,
like, does
okay.
Taylor Swift have a belly button? And there was this thing. This was years ago. I don't know why I remember that, but
That's
yeah.
fetish
no,
much?
We're
That's Bobby's kink.
pop culture. Like I just want to know what's going on
Pop culture
every once in a
fetish,
while.
yes.
Sure.
But,
But no, buy your domains.
Okay, got it. So where I was going with bibs with that was, so we currently do not have any women people that are participating in it. So
Yeah.
women people, but I sound like Matt Cresco over here. And we would love to have you join us for one of those. We're doing
that'd
them
be
monthly.
fun.
So we know tomorrow's probably too short of notice for you.
What?
Tomorrow we have our second
Don't
one
It's
ever-
actually
ever.
45 minutes. Can you make it?
Bob, you got to do the assumptive close. So yeah, tomorrow at 6:30, can we lock in your spot right now?
I can't. I've got an Arte call. I'm sorry. And it's our anniversary. So.
Okay, well, early congrats.
Oh, thanks. 9
Well,
years.
we will let you know when the next one is, because we definitely
Let
want
me
to
know.
get some more women involved in that, and I'm sure that you could
You
bring
may
some
regret that,
great
having
people.
me there.
Bring some
No, we'd love
people
to.
with
You'd
you.
probably, you would definitely make us look like peasants, and we want that. We want to remind you where you came from.
Oh, I don't forget.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Any other questions before we get into OnlyFans?
No, I have one more, and it is around, we didn't get into it, didn't flow, but I'll ask. So one thing I'm fascinated by are people who can compartmentalize emotions. So
Yeah.
like, let's say you have to go and speak, but right before you had a massive fire in your business or some shit, your personal life come up. How do you go on that stage, or how do you perform at a high level in anything that you do, knowing that other shit's going on externally? Like, how do you shut those emotions off to perform in the moment?
Nobody cares what you're going through. They care what you can do for them. So I approach it at that. So I think, what can I control and what can I not control? I can control my emotions, and I'm not going to let that out on someone else, because if people come to hear me speak or at one of my workshops, I cannot reflect that. They came to see, you at your highest level, not necessarily like me come out and be like, sorry guys, I'm just a little flustered. Like I just got you know what I mean? Nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants an emotional dump on them. You know what I mean? So it's being able to realize like, okay, I can handle this in an hour when I'm done. And why are people there to support you and to see you? Because we all see a lot of people just emotionally dumping on social media when you're following them for one thing or another. And it's not to hear them complain all the time, because when you complain, you're showing that you are not in control at the moment. So I try to not complain. I mean, obviously it's natural, right? You're gonna bitch and moan. Mainly bad drivers is my thing, but no, it's keeping your composure and keeping yourself together and cool and collected, because that alone can be something that inspires people, because some people are not able to detach themselves from what's going on currently in order to provide a better delivery or service to someone else. So it's always thinking about, the people that are there to see you, the people that are supporting you. Why are they there? They're not there to hear you say like, oh fuck, we just had this and shipment was messed up. They don't care.
Right.
So I just try to think about it like that, like what I can control, what I can't. So.
Yep. Great. So we're going to get into the OnlyFans inquiry. This is where one of our fans gets to ask a question from Instagram, and you get to help them in real life. So this question comes from Toman from Kenya, which is not surprising.
Wait, he had the question in the last podcast.
No.
I think. Are you sure?
No.
I feel like
That was
Lars.
Lars.
Lars from Denmark.
Okay, I knew it was out of the country.
So this is crazy.
Do you guys have any United
So
States fans?
internationally, we're huge.
We're number 9 in Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
What is that? You guys were like one in Denmark or
the
something
number 9
last year.
I can't even go
entrepreneurship
over
pod.
there. We need security.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, the number
Man,
9.
you're just fighting them off.
Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, we're big over there. Eventually,
Dan
we'll
almost
make
got
it to the
kidnapped
U.S.
last time.
But for now,
That's so cool. That is honestly, think about that. That's pretty cool. Like the way technology works
It
is that
is
like you can reach people literally around the world.
yeah, no, it's
We
amazing.
were higher than Andy, weren't we?
Oh yeah,
What?
you
We
said
were
in
bragging on
Denmark.
that.
I remember you guys
in
saying that
Denmark.
last time.
In
Yeah.
Denmark, we were. I think we fell.
Let me
off
go
in
get him
Denmark.
and you can tell him that.
Yeah.
He's now number 1
he
in
like
Denmark.
melts in his chair. He's like this.
Gotta go. I had this hard stop actually.
Yeah. See you guys.
So we are about at that stop. But so the last question is from Toman is I want to start my own business, but I'm afraid with all the inflation, it's going to restrict me. Do it, don't do it. What do I do?
What business?
So Toman was not very specific here. So this is not a great question, but why don't we just do it as this? For somebody who is afraid, because everybody's got an excuse,
Yeah.
right? The lights
Yeah.
are never green type deal.
Right.
For just a general, like, should I start my own business to anybody? Because there's obviously a lot of listeners out there.
Yeah.
At least 800 on Instagram.
Yeah.
So what would your advice be?
So I always think it's if you have something that you can innovate and different and it's going to strike the market and something you're passionate about, then yeah, you should. If you're just wanting to start a business to think you're going to get rich, this is not the time to do that. And you should never lead with that as your reason why. Every business I've ever started in my entire life has been to serve a purpose or to help people or fill a void that I found. Or if I couldn't find a product that I liked, I just decided to create it. So with inflation, things like that, that's kind of, there's a nuance with that. It depends on exactly what he's wanting to do. But for people in general, it's study the market of how has the inflation grown over the last 5 years? And then also obviously this year, is it something that's on pace? And if so, you need to pace it out with your price points as well to expect that. So if you find an average increase of inflation that's going to be at a 2.7% increase every quarter, then you need to project that into your goals of like, okay, well, I was going to market at 50, but I better make it 56 to help kind of account for that. So it's taking that into consideration. But I feel that, you will figure it out. Just it's starting, get in. I will say this, if it's a product-based service or a service-based business, service-based, boom, it's just you and your knowledge. That's easy.
Yep.
When it is a product-based like this, you need to take into account of right now, the problem is in the US lease is the ports are all closed. So if you're importing anything, which I know he's in Kenya, but if you have import of goods, are you even going to be able to get the product though? That's the thing too, is like, because it may delay your launch. So financially, if he decides to start this business now, but yet there is a 9-month lead for him to get his actual product in hand, he is going to be advancing out his money 9 months before he can even start to create a revenue for himself. So that's the thing you'd want to find a balance with as well, of working with vendors, even though you'd be new, trying to work out a relationship with them where you can make a partial payment to them, or getting a little bit more creative in that regard. Because for a lot of people, when they start a business, they need to start getting a return within usually 60 days to help fund things. So that's something though with the supply chain issue and inflation of like, how long are you gonna be waiting for your product?
Cool.
Before you get revenue.
Something I do find interesting about the inflation that I actually push more people to start their business towards is the fact of you're not making money with it sitting in the bank.
Right.
As an employee somewhere, your salary is never going to keep up with the inflation that we're at right now. You're not going to get that pay raise with what you're getting, what money is worth as it's going.
Correct.
So the only way I feel like you can live that life that is comfortable or to do the things you want to do is to own your own business, because you put the cap on what you can be paid versus somebody paying you your salary every single year.
Right.
So that's something I do find interesting about inflation.
No, totally. And the thing is like, the harder you work, the luckier you get, that kind of saying, and it's absolutely true because, that's one thing that, Andy has done, like to make up for inflation, and we try to like take care of our employees in that regard. But you're right. Like if you start your own thing, you can find a way. Like let's say, that your gentleman in Kenya, he starts his business, but yet he needs another income. What else are you good at? For me, that's kind of actually how I started with my coaching business. Whenever I launched my cookbook, because it's very expensive to produce a cookbook. It's for printing in general. You do on Amazon. Amazon doesn't pay for 4 months. That's just how they work. And, it takes a lot longer to recuperate your funds that way. And I thought, well, how can I self-fund my business without actually ever having to tap into my account? Yep. And that's what I did. I was like, oh, well, I'll just coach people. And then that funded my business during those times. And it just took off. And it's just something that I've grown to enjoy so much over the last 5 years. So it's something that creative people are like, oh, this is great, you do this. But they don't really know that I was doing it as a way to have another source of income while I was working. So I have no cap on it. I can take as many clients as I want or I don't want, and I keep that income
and there's
coming
virtually
in.
no overhead in that.
There's zero. It's literally just what's been in my brain the last 20 years, you know?
I just started doing that.
What? It's coaching?
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, it's great. You know what the thing is that,
Different.
Huh?
A little different, but same thing. Yeah.
What?
No, I just took over.
Why are you being weird?
Well, it just makes it because
so.
it makes it sound like I'm like this like business coach, and it's not what I am. So I don't want to come across as like
You're
fake.
a life coach.
Yeah, basically, I take care of a guy's race car who lives in LA. He flies out. I work on it. I give him my knowledge of what to do on the track. So it's like a different form of coaching. I don't want to come across as like a fake
that's
entrepreneur type thing.
No, I get that. Yeah, but it's a way that you're able to provide value to someone else, and it helps you in exchange.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So no, I totally get that, and that's another way that people can do that. There's always another way to find a source of income. And the thing is that you're saying like, oh, like I don't want to sound like a coach. The thing is, I feel like there's so many people that, and I know you're not. I'm just saying there are a lot of people that are claiming to be something that they're not, and there's no actual social proof to that. It's like Andy and I always talk about that. It's like the 19-year-old life coaches. It's like, dude, when I was 19, I made the most mistakes ever. You know what I mean? So like, who am I to tell someone something?
I was sleeping till 3 p.m.
Just getting hammered at Mizzou.
Yeah. So, but no, I get that. Yeah, it's just finding other ways to provide income to help support your goals and dreams. Because like actually, our very first, our last house that we had, that was the house we were in when I launched my cookbook, and we had, it was a nice house, and I could have bought a desk for my office, but I never did. I wanted it to be just from my income that I was creating from my sales. So when I started the first, maybe probably 4 or 5 months, I worked from a 2 foot by 4 foot folding table and a folding chair in a spare bedroom. And that's all that was in there. And that was my quote office, but in this nice house. But it's like, it was that pride of like, I want to be able to buy it from my actual company funds. You know what I mean?
Yeah. See, that's incredible to me because it's like, whether in like a situation like yours or whether like Brad, like his dad's done really well for himself in business. It's like usually when you have those opportunities to get things easy for you, it's like so many people take advantage of those as opposed to the two of you or like a lot of other people out there, but still the minority. It's like you want to work for your shit. Like you don't want that handed to you, even though you have that opportunity.
No, and that's the thing. I think that's a quality that I don't want to ever lose, though. You know what I mean? Because like I started working when I was 14, so I could buy my house when I was 19, and then I started my business when I was 20. Like it's always been important to me. I want to be able to earn it. You know what I mean? I don't want to be able to say like, oh, she's got that or that. She's only, whatever people quote successful because of this or that. Like I want it to be like, no, I actually put in the work, and like I wanted to have that semi-struggle, I guess you could say, to really appreciate it. And plus it makes you work harder because I want to be able to operate on only that. I don't want to have to fund my own company. You know what I mean? I want to be able to just like run just with whatever I work my ass off to make.
Yep, that's awesome. And a big reason that we like you having on this podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Yep, we appreciate it, Emily.
It was fun. Thanks, guys.